So my topic is Nourish Your Body, which is a very important thing to think about. So let's turn in our Bibles. We'll start out with going to 1 Corinthians chapter 6, and we'll read that passage. But I'm just going to start out with a word of prayer, actually. Lord, I just thank you for this day that you've given us and this time that you've given us just to study your word together and talk about how we can nourish our bodies and just take care of these physical bodies that you've given us, Lord, and just to be wise stewards of it. And I just pray that you would guide my thoughts and just help me to share these truths and information that I have with the girls today, and that you would just bless our time together. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, so 1 Corinthians chapter 6. It's probably a very familiar verse to all of you, but it's a really good one nonetheless. 1 Corinthians 6, verses 19 through 20. Says, "What? Know ye not that your body is the temple of the Holy Ghost, which is in you, which ye have of God, and ye are not your own? For ye are bought with a price. Therefore glorify God in your body and in your spirit, which are God's." And I was just thinking about that verse and of like, what better way can we glorify God in our body than taking care of our bodies and nourishing our bodies so that we can go forward and do the work of the Lord. If we're not healthy and we don't have the ability to physically do things, we're not going to be able to do a lot of the things that God's given us to do. And of course, some people have ailments or things that hinder them from doing other things that makes them not any less valuable. Like they can do all sorts of ministries. For example, my mom has a lot of physical limitations, but yet she sends tons of encouraging cards to hundreds of people that like I would never have time to write that many cards and mail those encouraging verses and things, but she does, and that's her ministry. And so any way you cut it, we can still serve the Lord. But if we're able-bodied, we can serve the Lord in a lot of more ways. And like we read, we want to glorify God in our body and be wise stewards of what the Lord has given us. So one of those things is to nourish our body, is a way we can glorify the Lord. And something I was thinking about is just that like nourishing our bodies right now is affecting our future. Because a lot of times we're just like, maybe someday I'll think about health and like taking care of my body. But right now we're like in our prime, we're in our youth, like we can do whatever we want. We can stay up late, we can eat junk food. It doesn't affect us, right? It doesn't right now. We might not notice the effects of it, or maybe some of us do. But it is affecting us whether we see it or not. How we eat, what we do day to day is affecting us, and especially affecting our future. So we want to be careful with that and just realize that like, kind of like Rachel's going to be sharing tomorrow, what we sow now, we're going to be reaping later. And so we want to nourish our bodies now so that in the future we can have that health and energy that we need. Galatians 6:7 says, "Be not deceived, God is not mocked. For whatsoever man soweth, that shall he also reap." So if we're just consuming all sorts of garbage and things that our body can't handle and just aren't good for us, we're going to be reaping the effects of that later. So let's nourish our bodies and reap good things in the years to come. Let's see. Yeah, so instead of just thinking about, well, I'll think about health later, I encourage all of us to think about it now and to invest in our health and our future and nourish our bodies for God's glory so that we can serve Him to our best capacity. And I was thinking about the Proverbs 31 woman, and somebody, I don't remember which session it was talking about the Proverbs 31 woman, and I thought she was such a good example too. If you guys want to turn to Proverbs 31, we'll read verses 10 and 12. And I was just thinking about this in light of like our future, and in taking care of our bodies now is going to be affecting our future. And if we ever get married, it's going to be affecting our future husband and our children. And this verse just stood out to me. Proverbs 31, 10 through 12. "Who can find a virtuous woman? For her price is far above rubies. The heart of her husband does safely trust in her, so that he shall have no need of spoil. She will do him good and not evil all the days of her life." And I was just thinking about that of like right now, like all of us might not get married, but assuming we did, let's say, all of us right now, we can be doing our future husbands good by taking care of our bodies well now, so that we can have the energy to serve our husband and serve our family and take good care of them. So it's just a good reminder of like investing in our health and nourishing our bodies right now is doing our future husband good right now. And it says all the days of her life she was doing her husband good. And I think that can even start while we're single. So that was just a reminder to me of like, you know what, taking care of my body is doing good for my husband someday. So I think it all can start right now, today. Maybe some of you are really into health and nourishing your body, and you are very aware of a lot of these things that I'm covering, and that's great. So we can talk more and share more things. And I'm like, I was telling Victoria, I don't remember it was Rachel, but I was like, I feel like everybody's gonna know everything I'm saying, but I'm like, they're like, no, a lot of people don't, or they might just need the reminder. I'm like, okay. So if you already know all of this, that's great. But we can all use a reminder to nourish our bodies. But let's see. We were talking right before this, a bunch of us girls were in here, and we were talking about health and like liver cleanses and like all sorts of stuff. I'm like, this goes right along with the message today. So it was kind of fun. But just, we were talking about how like what we do now is going to affect the future, and like how if we do a liver cleanse now, for example, that could affect how our future pregnancies are and different things like that. Like you can have way less morning sickness if your liver is healthy and different things like that. So like what we do now is going to affect our future children, our future husband, just our future in general, whether we get married or not. Like it's going to affect how we feel and how we can thrive physically. Let's see here. So we're going to look at 6 different things. I guess they're technically 6 different points, I guess I have. So the first one is to eat a balanced diet. I think this is really important, and that we first of all get in healthy proteins is the number one thing, and then also just making sure we have healthy carbs and fats in our meals. But just make sure we have that base of protein, because I know sometimes if we're in a hurry and we're just like, oh, I just need to grab something, sometimes what we grab isn't the most nourishing or healthy or protein packed, and if we don't have that protein, our hormones aren't going to be balanced, and it's just not going to be a good setup. So just making sure that we get enough protein every day, I think is really important. I don't know how many of you have watched Madison's course, what is it called? Becoming Marriage Material. But she has a section in there about health, basically. I don't know what it was called. But so some of these points I was like, oh, she has so many good things. So I was taking notes to share with you guys. I don't know if any of you have watched it or not. But anyways, but she was saying like, what was it? It was 30 grams of protein per meal is what is like ideal in what she knows. And she does a lot with health. Does a lot with health and stuff. So anyway, I was like, that's a really good thing. And so Rachel and I were like, after we were listening to her health thing, we were like, how much protein are we getting in every meal? And so we started just like generally counting for a couple weeks, and we were just like, we are not getting enough protein in, especially like for breakfast. Sometimes like, you know, if you eat a bowl of cereal, there's not that much protein in that. There's some in the milk and a little bit in the cereal, but like just making sure you get good protein, whether it's in like, you know, Greek yogurt, it's really high in protein. So it's like, maybe I'll eat a parfait and eat a bunch of Greek yogurt. And if you need more, just put a little collagen in it and stir it up, or, you know, just different little things, or make sure you eat some eggs and sausage or something. So that was kind of fun. We've just been like, how much protein are we actually getting in? Trying to just be more mindful of that. Not like paranoid and be like, oh, we need to count our calories. Like, no, but like, just be aware and just try to make sure you're getting a good amount of protein. And then the other thing about eating a balanced diet is to read labels and know what's in the food you're eating, because so many things are just packed full of garbage. Like just so many poisonous preservatives, and like, I don't know, you just read labels and you're like, what is that? Why? You look at a sour cream container and it's like, it should just be, you know, like cream and culture and whatever, and it's got like a list this long, and you're like, is this sour cream? Like, so just look at labels, read what's in the ingredients, and if you don't know what the ingredients are, maybe buy a different one that has simple ingredients that are pure. So yeah, that's kind of just something to be aware of, is read labels and don't just buy it just because that's what you always get. Know what's in your food. And then just cutting out as much processed food as possible. And I know that's hard because it's easy. Processed food makes preparing meals easy, but there's so many things, like reading the labels, it's like, what is in this? It's processed, but it's full of all sorts of toxic food. And including seed oils, which we'll talk more about seed oils. And Rachel, I might need your help when I talk about that, because you're better at explaining why seed oils are terrible for you. But anyway, seed oils, we've been trying to avoid those. And we'll talk about, well, I guess we can talk about that now. But yeah, we have several different people have been telling me, like, avoid seed oils at like all costs. Like, you know, what are the different seed oils? I'm drawing a blank right now. Like sunflower oil and, you know, vegetable oil and what are the other ones? Safflower oil. And yeah, all those things, like, those are really toxic. And at first I was like, yeah, it's probably true. And like, so we were trying to avoid it, but it's like in everything, even these like organic or gluten-free, all these like health foods, and they still have safflower or vegetable oil or something in them. And I was like, okay, well, if I'm really gonna like go all out and like skip these, I need to know why, because like, I know they're bad for you, but why? And so Rachel and I were trying to do research, and it was like really complicated. I found these videos that were like an hour long and very scientific. I'm like, this is over my head. I just need to know like a simple why. And so we were like, because my brothers are like, they're like, well, if it's just like the sunflower that's crushed and you got the oil, what's wrong with that? And I'm like, well, yeah, like it does depend on how it's processed. But anyway, so do you want to share a little bit on like what you found, like, of why? Sorry to put you on the spot. I was going to ask you earlier about this.
I think one thing that I just found that was kind of the most, like, understandable thing, other than the way it's processed, because obviously you can have the same oil, like sunflower oil, for instance, that could be a lot better or a lot worse if it's processed in a good way or a bad way. But with people saying that it's just bad for you altogether, the main reason that I could find is because of the omega-6, omega-3 ratio is really off. So it's really high in omega-6, and that's why it's bad for you. And when they first introduced those oils into our diets, when people started eating corn oil and different things like that, people started getting all sorts of diseases and sicknesses and stuff that they linked back to that, and it was because of that omega-3, omega-6 imbalance. And it's we weren't designed to eat that much of a concentration of those. And so, yes, sunflower seeds are good for you. Corn isn't bad for you, things like that. But it's that concentration that we weren't designed to eat that makes the oil unhealthy for you, because you're getting too many omega-6s versus omega-3s. And so that ratio is off. And that's one of the main reasons that even if you have that oil that was, you know, cold pressed and organic and all that, it still can be very toxic to you. And that imbalance can cause cancer, and it's linked to all sorts of diseases and illnesses and things. So that's the main thing that I found that was the most tangible.
Which is true for like all seed oils.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So once we understood a little bit more why, it was like, okay, I'll try to avoid as much as possible. So I think we've been doing fairly well on skipping anything that's seed oils. It's like, it's hard though, because literally there's all these things. If you go in your cupboard, like when you go home, looking for those seed oils, you'll find them like in everything. So anyway, I encourage you to think about trying to cut those out of your diet, because like she said, they're linked to so many health issues that a lot of us deal with. So think about doing that. Another thing, Rachel should just be teaching this session, because everything I'm thinking about is like, she's good at this. But is soaking your grains in nuts to unlock them so that you can get the most nutrition out of them. And she does a lot of that at our house, which is really nice. But yeah, if you soak your grains with like just a little bit of vinegar and water overnight, you soak your rice or something, it helps it so that you can digest it a lot better. And it's hard because you have to like think and plan ahead. You can't just be like, oh, I'm just going to cook rice or whatever it is, or whatnot. You have to think and be like, okay, tomorrow I'm going to use rice, so I'm going to like soak a couple of cups of that tonight or whatever. But you're going to get a lot more nutrition out of that, and your body will be able to use that a lot better. And same with nuts. Like, we'll just, when we buy nuts from Costco or whatever, we'll come home and just soak them right away. And you soak them with salt and water. And then for, is it 12 hours, 24 hours? Something like that. And then just let them soak in the water, then drain them, and then we just put them in the dehydrator. And they taste really good too, like that, because they're salty and like so good, and they're unlocked, I guess, so your body can digest them and use them more fully. So those are just little things we can do. And then going along with the eating thing, for me, it's just been a good reminder to slow down, chew, and enjoy the food that God has given you. Like, I feel like we're all like always rushed, and we're just like, gobble your food and just like shove it in. And it's like, our bodies can use it so much better if we just slow down, chew your food, enjoy it. Like, food is amazing, and I love food. It's like, God's given this to enjoy this. Just like, slow down and enjoy your meal. Maybe if it's, what we've enjoyed the last couple weeks, us girls, as we were planning this retreat, we'd be like inside a lot, and it was super nice outside. And so like, we would just like take our lunch outside and just like sit down and just eat our lunch and just enjoy the outdoors, enjoy your food, and let it be beautiful and good and nutritious, and enjoy every bite. And just thank the Lord for that pleasure that we have. I think of people who are in the hospital and they're just like on feeding tubes and different things. It's like, oh, I'm so thankful I can actually chew my food and eat it and enjoy it. And it's a pleasure we take for granted. But yeah, slow down and enjoy and chew your food. Okay, so the second point would be prioritize sleep and rest. Again, we live in a really fast-paced, busy culture. And I think that we often as young people forget to get enough sleep and to take time to rest. We all should be getting at least 7 hours of sleep every night. And if you're not, try to get more. I have one friend, she's like, I went for years only getting 5 hours of sleep a night, and then I realized like, this is really just destroying my body. I have to get more sleep than that. And I'm like, yeah, girl, I won't even be functioning on 5 hours of sleep, and I need a lot of sleep. But at least get 7 or 8 hours of good sleep if you can a night on a regular basis. And that really, our body does so much while we're sleeping. Our body has a clock within itself, and it knows like, 3 a.m., the liver dumps and it cleanses, and like it does so much of healing and work while we're sleeping. And if we don't take that rest and that time, our body's not going to be doing that job it's supposed to be doing while we're sleeping. So get some good sleep. And also just a reminder that like the hours before midnight, they say, at least, I don't know if it's true, but they say are so much more valuable. Like if you go to bed after midnight every night, you're not going to be getting as good of sleep, I guess. But they say, my mom always says, hours before midnight like count as double hours. So I'm like, I don't know if that really makes sense, but that's what they say, is that it's way more valuable. So like, if you can go to bed at 10 o'clock at night instead of midnight, it's a lot better for your body. And just something to remember too is to try to avoid screen time right before bed, because that blue light really just messes up being able to sleep well at night. It suppresses melatonin production and messes with our circadian rhythm, and just like so many things. That blue light can just really upset our body's natural rhythms. And there's things that we can do. It's not like you literally can't be on the computer, or you're not going to be able to sleep at night or something. I'm sure a lot of you are on your computer or phone until right before bed. But one thing we can do is, like, you've probably heard of blue light glasses that you can wear when you're on the computer, if you have to be on the computer or phone before bed. So those can just help with blocking that blue light if you need to be on the computer. But I've found it's just helpful to find something else to do right before bed, like maybe read a book or just do something else that's not on a screen. So that goes along with prioritizing sleep and rest. Okay, so then the third one is to invest in a few supplements. Like, I know some of us, maybe you take like 10 different supplements every day, or maybe you don't take anything. And I think there's just like a few things that are really basic that are really helpful for all of us to be taking. And it does take some investment. I mean, supplements aren't free. So there's just a few things, like, I know liver is like nature's multivitamin. It is packed with so many good things. And I had a friend who was just like, if there's one thing you need to take, like, take liver capsules every day, or just eat liver or something. And I was like, I can't stomach eating liver. Like, that's not me. I can't do it. But she's like, well, then at least buy capsules, like, or something. And we raise our own beef. And so I was like, but I have all of this fresh, good, grass-fed beef liver in my freezer, but I can't eat it. Just like, it's just, ugh. And so I was like researching, like, how can I actually use this? Like, I need it, but I don't want to eat it. And I had one friend who she chops it up in little chunks and freezes it and then like swallows them as like capsules kind of. I was like, that would work, but I don't know, still the flavor. Anyways, so what I've done is I'll dehydrate it and then put it in the blender, powder it up, and then I have like a capsule maker that can make 50 capsules at once. And then I just capsuled my own. So I was like, it took a fair bit of time, but I was like, hey, it's free besides my time. So I was like, once I got the bottle, I'm like, you know how much value this little bottle of beef liver is? You know, they're expensive. So I was glad that we were able to utilize that. So yeah, get your hands on some beef liver capsules or fresh liver, whatever works for you. I have heard that Perfect Supplements is a good place to get liver. I haven't gotten it from there, but it's a good source, I guess. Magnesium is super important for our bodies. Cod liver oil is really high in vitamin A and D, and it's just a huge powerhouse of stuff for our body there. I personally think everybody should be taking a good probiotic too, but there's like so many things, but those are just like a few basics like that you could start with. And then just like a simple thing that's pretty cheap too is just like juicing half a lemon every morning and drinking that in the morning is just like super good for your body as well. And lemons aren't that expensive. So like if you want something that's like really practical, simple, and cheap, you could just start with like, hey, I'm gonna have half a lemon of juice every morning. So that's a simple thing you could do. And obviously there's so many different things you could be taking. Those were just a few that came to my mind. But yeah, kind of find what works for you and what your body needs, because everybody's different. We all have different things that our body needs. I was trying to figure out like what my body needs, because I've had a lot of just different health challenges over the years, and trying to figure out like, what does my body need? I try this, it doesn't work. I try that, it doesn't work. I try intermittent fasting, that doesn't help. I try this, and it's just like, nothing works. And so my dad does soil testing and different things like that, and so he also does hair analysis. And so I was like, well, I might as well do a hair analysis and see like what minerals I'm high or low in and stuff. So I did that a couple months ago and got the results back, and that was really helpful for me because it showed me where I was at. And I was like, it was showing that I was really high in magnesium, that I was really low in this and this and this, and then they were like, you really need to treat it like you're low in magnesium because your body's not utilizing the magnesium you're taking, because I was taking magnesium. But anyway, so it's just like so many different factors that go together. But for me, it was really helpful to know what I was lacking in, and then figuring out what supplements I did or didn't need to be taking based on that analysis of what minerals I needed or not. So there's different little things like that that you can do to try to figure out what your body does need. But yeah, so those are just a few thoughts on investing in a few supplements. So then the fourth point is to minimize different, I don't know if pollutants is a word, but things that are polluting your diet and your life. And there could be a lot of different things. Where I already talked about seed oils. Seed oils was on the top of my list as something that is polluting our diets and causing a lot of damage for our bodies. So try to get rid of that, or at least minimize it as much as you can. Another thing that comes to my mind is cell phone radiation. And I feel like a lot of us don't think about that. It's just like our phone's always on us, it's right next to us, but yet it's not good. And it can cause cancer and all sorts of different things. And so just being aware and conscious, like Rachel kind of is more conscious of it than me, and I'm like, I try to be careful, but she's like, that thing's gonna kill you. And I'm like, yeah, I know, slowly but surely, but she's like, every inch is further away from you, the better it is. If it's sitting right here, she's like, well, just set it over there. And it is true. Like, the further away from you it is, the better it is, because it's going to be radiating you, and we don't want that, and it's going to cause all sorts of problems for our bodies. I don't know if I had, do you know, Rachel, where the little, I call it a radiation pack, but it's like an anti-radiation pack. Yeah, I had it in my bag or something. I don't know where it went, but you can buy little pouches. It might be like in my Bible bag, or it might be over there. I don't know. I was going to show you guys if I can find it, but and some of you may already have these, and I can't remember what it's called. I was going to write it down, what brand we had. But you can put your phone in it, and it blocks Like if you put it in, it has 2 different pouches. So like if you put it in the inner pouch, you literally can't get a phone call. It won't go through it. It's blocking that cell phone connection. Anyway, so you kind of put it all the way in there so you can't get any reception, or it has like an outer pouch. So like on this side of it, it's not getting anything, but you can still get phone calls. So like if I'm going for like a Spring 100 walk, for example, and I want to clock my miles, but I don't want to be wearing my phone directly on me, radiating me, I'll put it in that pack, and then I can just put it in my pocket and have the radiation thing facing out. So like what's touching me isn't radiating me directly. So that's really helpful and can be helpful because like we need our phones and we need them on us a lot, but we don't want to be solely killing ourselves with radiation. So that's kind of a helpful thing, and hopefully Rachel can find it because then I can tell you guys what brand it is and what it looks like, except for it's falling apart a lot. Okay, I don't know what I did with it. Okay, so then the other thing is to, like at nighttime, put your phone on airplane mode if you're able to, and preferably don't have it in your bedroom, like right by your bed. And for a long time, I was like using my phone for an alarm, right? Like that's common. And Rachel and I share a bedroom, and she was like, I don't want the cell phone in my room. Like, it's gonna kill me. Take it away. I was like, yeah, but I need it. Like, I need my alarm. And so she was like, she got some sort of other little like just clock that had an alarm on it, and I was like, okay, fine, I'll try to use that. And so thankfully I have her in my life to help me be healthier, right? So we got the phone out of our bedroom, put it in the other room, and then have different alarm clocks and things. So that works, and it's just like sometimes it's a pain and it's like annoying, you have to take an extra step, but in the future and in the long run you will be thankful that you did that. I mean, we hear of people everywhere have cancer, have this, have that, and it's like, why? And if we look at it, like if you look at the science of cell phones and all these things, they cause all those things, and it's like we just act like it's no big deal. We just have a phone, and it's like 30 years ago they didn't have cell phones. You know, so just be aware of those things. Let's see, another thing, which this is like can be impractical sometimes, but like if you can turn your internet off at your house at night, that can be helpful too. And let's see, what other pollutants? I guess if you live where you have city water, just being aware of that and having good filters. They say that taking a shower in city water is like practically worse than drinking city water because it's hot water and it's going right on your skin and into your pores basically. And so like if you're showering in city water every day or something, get a filter for your shower. And we have a really good filter. What is the brand? Do you know what it is called? Aqua Youth? Yeah, Aqua Youth, and it's like a black charcoal filter, and so that one works really well. There's, I'm sure, a lot of other options out there, so just be aware of that. Of course, like being careful what hair care products you use or makeup, making sure that those are clean and healthy and don't have polluting ingredients that are going to be damaging you and your health. Another one is the microwave, and a lot of people use the microwave all the time and think it's not a big deal, but again, it's radiation exposure, and it's when you put your food in the microwave, the nutritional value goes way down, and it's just like, I grew up like not using the microwave and knowing it was really bad, and I was thinking about it the other day, I'm like, so like, what is so bad about the microwave? How can I remember like how to share that? But I do know that it's the radiation is really bad for you, and just the nutritional value of your food. Those are just two like simple reasons why you wouldn't use the microwave. But we have a microwave at our house. We just unplug it and we're like, you do not use the microwave. It's like a no-no. So just little things like that to just cut out if you're able to. Another little simple thing is like Teflon pans. It's like a lot of people use those, but yet the chemical used in the production of Teflon has been linked to causing thyroid disorders, cancer, kidney disease, and liver disease. And they say, well, as long as it's not scratched or whatever, like you're not getting any Teflon. But like everybody's pans have scratches on them, right? And if you have scratched or used Teflon pans, they release thousands of plastic particles with every surface scratch or crack. So it's like we're still getting that Teflon if you're using Teflon pans, and that can cause like we saw a lot of problems for our bodies. So if you have Teflon pans, just exchange those for like cast iron pans or stainless steel or something that's a healthier option if possible. Okay, so moving on to point 5, strengthen your body. Again, the Proverbs 31 woman is a good example. She girdeth her loins with strength and strengtheneth her arms, it says in Proverbs 31:17. So that's just a good example of choosing to strengthen our bodies. And this can look different from person to person. Like some people, maybe they work out every day, or they go running, or there's a lot of different ways that you can strengthen your body and be fit. But it's just a good reminder of like to strengthen our body now and just be as fit as we can be. And like I said, it's going to look different for different people. Like a few practical things, like sometimes we bite off more than we can chew, and we're like, yeah, I'm going to work out 5 days a week and like do this and that, and I'm going to, you know, I don't know, we have all these grand ideas, especially at the beginning of the year, right? And then they don't happen. And so I like to make like smaller goals. And so like for me, just some like practical things is just to say, you know what, I'm going to take like 3 minutes and just do a little bit of stretching when I get up in the morning and get dressed, you know, just like reach down to the floor, reach up this way, and that way, you know, just do a little stretching. And that can go a long ways in just helping your body be able to do more throughout the day. A lot of you are doing the Spring 100 challenge. And so like that's a really good way to incorporate just exercising every day. And I love that because it's just like a motivation to make me get out and walk. Because like I might go for a walk, you know, a couple times a week, but I'm not going to go 100 miles in the spring season. So it's just like little things like that can be helpful to get us in the habit of exercising or just going for a walk. Or I don't like running, but I know it's good for me. Like I'll go for a walk, but not running. And so like lately I've just been like, my sister Victoria and I are just like, well, we'll go for a walk, and then we'll be like, let's just run until that tree. And so we'll just like sprint there. And then she's like, to the next tree. I'm like, okay, fine. And then we'll just go a little further. And then, you know, just like little bits like that. And it gets easier as you do things like that. And so that's just like a practical thing that I've started trying to just incorporate, little things like that. Or another one that I have been trying to do this year is like during our family devotions in the evening, I'll just like sit on the floor instead of the couch and just like, you know, sit Indian style or whatever, and just try to let my body be more flexible. Because if you're sitting on the floor versus the couch, like you're going to be more flexible if you're trying to sit Indian style during devotions than lounging on the couch. So just like little things like that can make a difference. So it doesn't mean that you have to like pick something huge to do, but just little things, and just being conscious of trying to be flexible, be fit, be able to be fit enough to do the things that God's given you to do, and just strengthen your body. And yeah, and I guess like another thing would just be like setting goals and getting accountability. So like the Spring 100, for example, is a great goal, and you have accountability. You have lots of friends that are doing it, and so you can keep each other accountable. Like, have you been walking? Wait, you're 30 miles behind? Okay, well, come on, we're going to go for a walk. You know, so like different things like that can be, but I still laugh. I wasn't talking about you. Hey, you went 2 miles this morning, so that's good.
Is that how far we went?
It was 1.9, so yeah. Anyways. As I started saying it, I was like, oh no, she's going to think I was talking about her, but I wasn't. Anyways, but one goal for me is Victoria's planning a backpacking trip that she does every year. And I haven't been on her backpacking trips before, but this year I'm like, I really want to go. And I know that I have to be a lot more fit than I am right now to go on that backpacking trip. So like for me, that's like a really fun goal to work towards, and to be like, I need to be able to go hiking and not be like totally out of breath, and they're all like, come on, Sarah, get to the top of the hill. So, and to be able to carry that weight of your backpack all those miles. So that's like one goal that I have. So now you all can keep me accountable and make sure I go on that trip and I'm fit enough. Anyways, so just strengthen your body and find something that works for you. All right, so the sixth and last point I have is that our attitude affects our body. And I think this one is really huge, because what we think and where we set our mind is going to affect our body and how we feel, and just like everything about us. I don't know, just like, I feel like I could talk a long time about this, but I'm not going to because this is already getting long. But let's turn to a couple verses in Proverbs. Let's go to Proverbs 17:22. Proverbs 17:22 says, "A merry heart doeth good like a medicine, but a broken spirit drieth the bones." So we see that a merry heart, it's going to do good like medicine. It's a very important thing in our life to have a merry heart. But on the contrast, like a broken spirit, it's going to dry up our bones. Like it's going to kill us in the long run. So like, I think just having that merry heart and that heart that always turns back to the Lord and turns our focus back to the Lord, we're going to be a lot healthier physically and mentally and emotionally if we can do that and choose to focus on the Lord and the goodness of God instead of dwelling on the hard things in life and our problems, or just thinking negatively can really just drain us and is physically exhausting. We turn back to chapter 16, verse 24. It says, "Pleasant words are as an honeycomb, sweet to the soul and health to the bones." Our words are super powerful, and they can affect our health. The words that we hear from others, they can affect our health. The words that we speak, they affect our health and those around us. So just really turning our focus back to the Lord and realizing that our attitude and what's in our heart and on our mind is going to affect us physically. So let's nourish our bodies and glorify God in our body and our spirit by singing, by praising God, and having a good attitude, and just remembering who our God is. And just have the merry heart and pleasant words that flow from our mouth and from our life. And just in a closing verse, Galatians 6:9 says, "And let us not be weary in well-doing, for in due season we shall reap if we faint not." So some of this might be like, oh man, she's telling me I need to do all these different things, and like, this is overwhelming. I'm weary. I don't want to do this. But in due season, you will reap if you don't faint. So don't be weary in well-doing, and just maybe you can pick out a couple things that you want to work on, or just find a couple things that stood out to you to focus on. Don't be overwhelmed by things, but just find a couple things that you want to work on in nourishing your body. And everybody's body is different. Everybody needs something different, but just find what your body needs. So that's all I have to share. And then Rachel's going to share on the next part.